Hey. Yeah. Um, this is like the real me is in bed with this sheet. It's freaking freezing. Um, I was thinking about it a lot because I'm sad. Oh, and I'm feeling a little sick too. Oh my god. It's like it's a fucking mess. Like it really is a mess. Oh, one thing about social media that I've noticed is like social media is about really stunning and flexing and like it's like all of it's fake. That's why I had to get off of Facebook. um you know um I was like annoyed with Instagram, but I'm okay with Instagram now. But now I feel a little lightheaded. It's a whole fucking thing. But I wanted to talk about a subject today, and I had seen someone reference it, excuse me, on Instagram. I think it was like some sort of meme. It was like gifted kid burnout. I don't know if I can find the freaking meme. I need to start screenshotting these memes because I have some. I've collected a really good amount. But anyway, I totally related to it. I was just like, I was that gifted kid. Like, I was the kid in the gifted and I was the kid in the gifted and talented school. I was the kid with great grades. The token black girl in like a predominantly white school. I went to school uh, with like it wasn't a private school. It was just a very privileged um, like public school. It's like the public school that stingy rich people and celebrities sent their kids because, as you know, private school is like 20,000 plus a year. You have multiple kids, that kind of adds up. But yes, I went to school with athletes' kids. I went to actually, what's her name? Sue Neen, Woody Allen's stepdaughter wife. She was a teacher at my school, actually. Um, the current chancellor in New York City of schools, she was my principal. And so, yeah, I was in the school. It was predominantly white and wealthy, and like one of these schools you have to take a million tests to get into, and I kicked ass, and I was really smart. And then I went to a specialized middle school, and then I went to not a specialized high school because in New York we have like four, but I went to the one that was like an alternative specialized high school, so it was like right under that for like the performing artsy kids. And kicked ass there. And then I went to undergrad. I was on the dean list a bunch of times, and I finished grad school with honors. And I've always been a kick-ass student. I worked really hard. I am very talented, with the arts and writing. But I've always had this cloud. I've always had this darkness that followed me my entire life. And I used to like read stories about like kids or kids that were like student athletes, and and then they'd be like, "Oh, she was so fun and she worked so hard and she had a lot of friends." And then she like, she committed suicide. Now, that being said, I actually didn't have a lot of friends. Like I had points of having friends and not having friends. Like I actually went from being really popular in sixth grade to literally having girls throw balls at me in the seventh grade. You know what I mean? So, my social stuff used to be all over the place. But in terms of like being a great student, I'm an excellent student. And I've gotten such awesome opportunities, but I just feel very unlucky. And I feel like I put so much energy into making what I thought was good decisions, like prioritizing school and, not prioritizing boys. And, I grew up like a Christian kid, and I could talk all about that. Um, yeah, so I grew up a Christian kid, and, I was always kind of moving away from that because there were a lot of things that just really seemed illogical, and my INTJ brain just couldn't fathom certain things. Um, And I did all the right things. I dotted my I's, I crossed my T's, and I feel like I'm in a bad place. Like, I am grateful for where I am because, like, I could be homeless or I could, you know, I don't know. I mean, I could have not been born in a first world country, because my family is actually from Jamaica and DR, so I could have been born there, and my options would have been more limited. Um, but even though I have all these options here, it's like, and I don't want to say it because I actually have a lot of love for people that have gotten out of their situation. But and I know there are a lot of people in this country that have made it, and they did things that we all and they did that and they rocked it, and I'm so proud of them. But like, that's exactly what I was told not to do. And I'm not saying if I would have done those things I would have made it, but it would have been easier. Like, I would have had money. You know what I mean? Like, even now, like, it's so hard for me to do anything. It's so hard to do anything without a spouse. Like, it's so hard, like, money wise, like, buy a house or anything. Like, it's so hard. Like, everyone pretends like, they're doing things, or like they're only getting money from one guy and they're getting it from mad guys, or like, or vice versa. Like, I know dudes living off of women, and that's all fine too. Like, I actually don't, as long as people are honest about what's going on, I have no problem with any of it. Actually, I'm probably more inclined to believe that that's the route to go. Which is a whole other story. But the point of the matter is that I did what I was supposed to do, in quotes. Add the other quote, I'm tired. Um, and I'm broke and I'm looking for work, and, and I'm ill. You know what I mean? Like, I have, in addition to mental illness, I have, physical ailments, like, I have invisible disabilities, as they say. Not enough that I could get SSI or anything from the state. Also, that would become a problem if once I do start working. But um, I've been doing small things like cutting corners to try and get ahead, and it feels great. I'm not doing enough where it's like crazy. I could like extrapolate or talk more about it, but it's nothing crazy. It's just basically just cutting corners and, getting back at corporations and shit. And things have been working for me, but it's not enough. Like, when I graduated from undergrad, I left school and I like chilled that whole summer, and I had a party, and I was the first person in my family to get my bachelor's, and I'm also the first person to get my master's, although I do have family members that have since gotten their bachelor's. Um, but yeah, like, I used to, yeah, so that summer I just read and I had fun and I was so excited. I'm like, September, I'm gonna start looking for jobs. And and I did, and I got a job, and the job was I was doing like some marketing, like editing work, copywriting, PR, press releases, like that sort of stuff. But it was like writing intensive, and I had to go through tests and everything and meet their standards and everything. And I got the job, and it was full time, and it like the starting position was $35,000 a year. So I was really excited. I'm like, oh my god, like, I can do shit now. Um, and then I get there, and then the my boss is like, it's $300 a week plus a Metro card. I was like, the ad said 35K. I get here now, you say 300 and a Metro card, which isn't bad, but that should have been said it before. Like, now I feel like you're lying to me. So once I kind of called him out politely and professionally, just kind of like, oh, I thought the advertisement said such and such. I don't understand. Could you explain it to me? And it was all bullshit. And then he started to nitpick at things. And then by the end of the week, I got fired, and my replacement was right there. Like, my replacement was this dude, and he was there to literally sat in my seat. Like, I got paid off the books, and then that guy sat in my seat. And I think he was paying that guy even half of what he was going to pay me. Like, I think he was going to pay that guy like $100 a week or something. I was just like, and then that was my entry into capitalism. Where I'm just like, oh, like, nothing's guaranteed. Like, we should all just be fucking the system because the system doesn't care about us. We're numbers. Like, if we're not generating money for an industry, that industry doesn't give a shit about us. And I am burnt out. Like, I am looking for work still, of course, you know, and I am getting rejections and I'm gonna keep going, of course. But of course, I sometimes I don't want to. Like, sometimes I'm like, I want to go with Elon Musk to Mars, or maybe some other place. I don't know. I want to go to a place where there's no capitalism, where there's no rat race, where there's no, this shit. You know what I mean? But, like, I still want healthcare because I don't want to, like, literally be in pain and suffer. Like, if I'm going to die, like, shoot me in the head. Like, I just don't want to suffer. You know what I mean? Like, there should be some humanity in not letting people suffer. I mean, like, so I'm burnt out, and I think other gifted kids go through that. You win all these awards, and there's all this hope for the future, and then your future, like, I shouldn't be potential right now. I should be the manifestation of potential. You know, like I don't get money for my birthday from family members anymore. They're like, "Oh, you're an adult." I'm like, "Oh, my family members don't even talk about me potentially like being with someone because I don't even think they see it. It's like she's gonna be single." There used to be jokes about the type of guy I would end up with. My family doesn't make those jokes anymore. So that's fine because that's a whole other thing. But I'm a gifted kid. I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I have mental health issues and physical problems. I'm really tired. I wake up every morning. I'm like, oh my God, I'm waking up. Like, like they said in Casino, every day above ground is a good day. And then you're like, really? I make jokes because humor. Like, what else do we have? But yeah, I guess this is not as focused as I wanted it to be. I'm gonna drink some more seltzer water.